I just finished recording a video talking about the greatest games to look forward to in 2024 when I look over and I see that the director of Starfield is telling players that they're disconnected from the realities of game development. Here we go again. Starfield director Emil Pagliarulo tweets saying, "Funny how disconnected some players are from the realities of game development, and yet they speak with such authority. I mean, I can guess what it takes to make a Hostess Twinkie, but I don't work in the factory, so what the hell do I know? Not a lot." I don't understand what is it with developers wanting to talk down to the gamer rather than trying to meet us on eye level. Saying that we're disconnected from the reality of game development and then trying to use the Hostess Twinkie and because you don't do the work, you don't know what you're talking about argument. I'm going to read the rest of these tweets for the sake of discussion. However, this is the dumbest argument that you could even start with, because we're talking about people that don't enjoy your game. Regardless of whatever kind of ideas that we come up with as to why the game is what it is, at the end of the day, people did not enjoy your game. That's it. Part of me really gets it. When you're a consumer and spending money on things, that gives you the right to complain about those things. I spend a lot of money on games every year, and sometimes it takes a lot for me not to scream into the internet's collective consciousness. And then he proceeds to scream into the internet's collective consciousness. You cannot write this up any better. You're going against your own best judgment in this situation, and you're talking to the customer, not the consumer. You're talking to somebody that has a direct relationship with your company, people that are buying your products. That's who this message is going towards. You're not screaming this into a collective consciousness. No, you're screaming this at the people that purchased your game and do not enjoy it. I don't complain about games on social media for two main reasons. One, I know how hard it is to make games and have too much respect for my fellow developers. Two, I work at a game studio and it would be uncool and unprofessional of me to do so. But I sometimes want to. Oh boy. Most people don't have these constraints and are free to post whatever they want. The internet is a glorious Wild West, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And there was a time when I exercised that right very freely. When I was writing reviews for Adrenaline Vault forever ago, I was absolutely that person who would say whatever I wanted to about a game, good or bad. Sometimes the good was over-enthusiastically so, too good. And sometimes the bad was me being a sarcastic asshat. But throughout that time, I had no inkling what game development was actually like, how hard the designers, programmers, artists, producers, and everyone else worked, the struggle to bring a vision to life with constantly shifting resources, the stress. I've said this once and I'm going to say it again. The customer does not care how hard you work on something, because at the end of the day, you're still charging us full price, even if your vision was never met in the first place, regardless of the constraints that you went through or whatever pressures you had, whether it be a board of directors or whatever. It doesn't really matter to us, because we're the ones that are paying the full price for that game. We are not responsible for being understanding of the difficulties that you go through in the development process, how hard you guys work to make something. As much as we want to appreciate what you do, we only appreciate it if that product meets our expectations. If it doesn't meet our expectations, then it wasn't enough in the first place. And that's not our fault. And if it's not your fault, then it's somebody else's that needs to be answering for it. And you shouldn't be looking to the customer and trying to explain to us why we need to be understanding of it. No, we don't need to be understanding of it. Your companies need to be better at releasing full, finished, and enjoyable products. This isn't me complaining about my job. I've experienced all these things and will again. It's the nature of AAA game development, but I have a great position and I'm gainfully employed after 21 years, a blessing considering the thousands of layoffs this year. I'm not trying to change anyone's mind because the internet. But given my position, I cannot share the truth. And the truth is, nobody sets out to make a bad game. And most game devs are incredibly talented, even if the game they released isn't up to par. See, I never knew this before, but if nothing else, video game development is a series of concessions through tough decisions. There's that perfect game that you want to make, and there's that game that you can make. Sometimes, if the gods smile on you, those two are very close. But in order to get there, in order to get as close as possible to the vision, the team has to push itself harder and harder. often while dealing with devs being shuffled around or leaving, looming deadlines, and creative decisions that you wish you didn't have to make. And team is absolutely the operative word there. Lots and lots of folks doing lots and lots of work. Writing, level building, making character models, coding game systems, trying to schedule it all to make sure it can get done, and folks don't get burnt out on and on. See, now we have a core misunderstanding that you think for some odd reason that the players don't understand that certain things just can't make it past the cutting room floor, that we don't believe that you had a grander vision but couldn't realize it for whatever reasons. We know that that's how most of these games probably start out. You probably have this grand idea, this grand design that you want to come up with. However, the problem with Starfield doesn't have to do with whatever that grand vision is. It's the fact that your grand vision was looking in the wrong direction. So sure, you can dislike a game. You can hate on a game entirely. But don't fool yourself into thinking that you know why it is the way that it is, unless it's somehow documented and verified, or how it got to be that way, good or bad. Chances are, unless you've made a game yourself, you don't know who made certain decisions, who did specific work, how many people were actually available to do the work, any time challenges that were faced, or how often you had to overcome technology itself. This one is huge. So yes, love games, buy them, play them, and complain to your heart's content. It's sort of the nature of the developer-player transactional relationship. But just know that the game that you're playing in some ways is a freaking miracle in and of itself. Normal people have come together to work for years for one goal, to bring you fun and happiness. So it helps to remember that. And them. Let's hit the checklist. Passive-aggressive, gaslighting, and condescending, all in one tweet. You gotta love it. See, you just don't understand how games are made, so really, if you don't enjoy a game, maybe you should think about how hard we worked on it first. I don't give a shit how hard you worked on a game. You're the one that's asking for my money. How hard is that to understand that I'm giving you the money for it? You even said it at the beginning of the tweet. However, you lose sight of it the longer you go on with your 15 responses. So hurt that you didn't win anything at the Game Awards. Good Lord. How fragile is your pride? I'm sorry, was it part of your grand decision, your grand design to make it where we had more loading screens than we've seen in a game in a decade? Was it your idea or your dream to make it where a space game where space wasn't even really part of the game? That every single planet that we went to was procedurally generated with more rocks than I've seen in the... I've never been to a desert. I can't say that I've been to a desert, so we'll just ignore that part. But you get what I'm talking about. I'm still angry. This is just so dumb. This is so stupid. It's fragile egos over people that just don't enjoy your game. And yeah, you're going to have some people that are out there that are going to make speculations on why certain decisions were made, who made certain choices and things like that. But for you to have to feel like you need to go online and cry about it is just ridiculous. And this makes us realize that your priorities at Bethesda are not in the right places. That our assumptions are probably right. That you just don't understand what players enjoy, what a good game actually feels like right now. You don't understand what we wanted to do. You wanted to make what you wanted to make, regardless of what anybody else would enjoy it or not. And part of me wants to respect that. Part of me wants to respect the people that want to make a game just because they want to make a game. But if that's the case, and people don't like your game, you also don't have the right to go online and start chastising the customer because we're not enjoying it. This is just ridiculous. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe, my friends, and I'll never see you in Starfield, or another Bethesda game for that matter. Peace.